Hey everyone, good morning. I am Pranshi Agrawal and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today is the fifth consecutive day in which we are getting an easy question. So let's see what is this question and how we can solve it. So this is check if one string swap can make strings equal. Okay, and in this question you are given two strings s1 and s2 of equal length, and a string swap is an operation where you choose two indices in a string and they should not necessarily be different, and swap the characters at these indices, and you need to return true if it is possible to make both strings equal by performing at most one string swap. Pay attention here that it is given that at most one string swap on exactly one of these strings, otherwise you will need to return false. Okay, so in this question what you have been given, that let's say you have been given a string s1 as bank and s2 also as bank, right? So as they both are already equal, so what you will need to do, you can return true here. But let's say if they are different, as in this example it is bank and k, a and b, right? So in this you can see that they are different, so we need to check whether we can perform at most one string swap on one of the string, and can, if they become equal after doing that operation, then we will return true. Okay, so let's check. Oh no, the the characters at first position is different. Okay, second is fine, third is fine. Oh, characters at fourth position is different. Okay, so what we can see, yeah, if let's say this index is I and this index is j. Okay, so now what we will check, that after swapping whether they can become equal or not. So how we will check that, let's say it is s1 and s2. If the character of s1 of I equals to character of s2 of j, if this character is equals to this one, or and if s1 of j equals to s2 of I, and this character should be equal to this, only then they will become equal after swapping. And if this condition is true, then we will return true, because we can make them equal after swapping at most one character in one string. Okay, but what could be other cases? Let's see this example. In this you have been given the strings attack and defend. Okay, so in this case you can see first character is also different, second is also different, third is also different. You can see all the characters are different, so we can make them equal by one swap only when the two characters are different, right? So how many different positions can we have? Either 0 or 2. 0 in the case when the strings are already equal, or 2 in the case when, and if there are two different characters and this condition also satisfies, only then we can make them equal. Otherwise, if we have, let's say, one character, let's say we have been given with bank and kank, let's say this is the character which is different, but we can't make these two strings equal after swapping any two characters. So that's why if the number of different characters in a string are either 0 or 2, only then we can make them equal by swapping two characters. They should not be 1 and they should not be greater than 2, because if they are greater than 2, then we can't make them equal by only at most one swap. Okay, so let's see its code. So we can store the length of the string first, as they are equal, so we will therefore use as n only. Now let's create a vector for storing the different indices and iterate in our string I is equals to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus n. If they are equal, they are not equal, let's say, then what we will do, we will simply push different indices in our vector, right? And in the starting only we can say that if s1 is equals to s2, then we will return 2. We don't need to do any further computations. So this will cover the case of 0 different characters. Okay, Okay, so we are pushing the different indices, and if different indices dot size is equals to 2 exactly, only then we need to check for the character set date indexes. So let's store the indexes. idx1, let's say, is equals to different indices of 0, and idx2 is equals to different indices of 1, and if s1 of idx1 is equals to s2 of idx2, and s1 of idx2 equals to s2 of idx1, only then we will return true. Otherwise, if its size is either 1 or greater than 2, then we will return false. Okay, let's try run this. Yeah, it's working fine. Let's try submitting it. Yeah, it's working fine. So now let's talk about this time and space complexity. So as you can see that we have created different indices vector. What it will store at most 2 indices only, right? Because let's say in this case it can store n number of indices, right? Because let's say in this case it will store all the indexes. So we can optimize it further. Let's say diff index is equals to 0. So we will also increment diff index plus plus, right? And if whenever diff index is greater than 2, then we will return false. So in this way we will not end up storing more than 2 indices in our vector, right? So if we will not end up storing more than 2 indices in our vector, then its space complexity will become big O of n, and time complexity will become big O of n as we are doing the single iteration. This one and this is big O of 1. Let's try run this as well after adding this diff index variable. It's working fine. Let's try submitting it once more. Because if we don't add it, then if the strings are completely different, then we will end up pushing n characters in our string, so we can optimize it further. That's all. So yeah, that's all for this question. It was a very easy question. I hope you get it, but if you still have any doubts, then you can post in the comment section. I will surely try to answer them. Till then, bye guys, see you in the next video.